Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 everybody to Terror to Triumph, the podcast for
Yes, yes.
survivors. We are here tonight. I'm Alfonso Pelt. This is my lovely co-host Storm. How you doing, Storm?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. We always got to be pushing the positive because we got a lot of stuff that we talk about. It's kind of you'll have us laughing and joking, trying to air light. These topics need to be discussed. We're always on the topic of childhood abuse and how it fares in adulthood, trying to deal with abuse that you haven't addressed. So, tonight's episode, we're starting the third part in the series, the React series, which is all about your reactions to the trauma that you've experienced. And we're going to get into that in just a moment. But first, I got a couple of announcements for you guys. This Saturday, May 9th at 9:30 p.m. Yeah, that's clap worthy. That's clap worthy. Okay. At 9:30 p.m., we have a special guest. Dr. David Marcus, a psychologist, is going to be with us. He's a survivor and he's got an awesome story to share with us. I need you guys to be here for that information he's going to share. He's got a lot of stuff to tell you. And I'm so grateful for God opening these doors to let these people come and share with you guys so you can get the benefits. That's
Yes.
what it's about. It's about you receiving the help that you need. Okay, with that being said, the next special announcement is the next special guest coming up right behind them, May 16th. These are both Saturday episodes, guys, so I just wanted to put that out there. May 16th at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have Tracy Smaldino. She's a podcast host and very successful at it. She has a tremendous story to tell you guys about how to recover. She has a lot to share. I'm excited. I'm really excited about what's coming up. And the next 13 or so people lined up to get on the show. Hey, it's going down. You guys are awesome for being here, for trying to get your journey started in your healing. I'm excited for you. I want you to get that healing. I want you to be whole. I want you to be the person God meant for you to be. And it all starts with facing your fears and opening up and being vocal about what happened to you. So, okay, without now that the major announcements are out the way, the regular stuff comes. Pelts Emporium. Go to Pelts Emporium, shop at Pelts Emporium. That helps us keep the bills paid and help keeps the lights on and help keeps the conversations going. Okay. Also, YouTube. Our YouTube channel is Terror to Triumph Live. So TerrorTriumpHLIVE. I sound like I'm rapping or something, but this is the place to go if you want to watch the past videos. We also have podcasts, which is audio versions of the same show that you're watching. But it's already happened. So you'll have the audio version if you can't watch visually. You might be at work or something and you want to listen to the podcast. That's cool. So we're on main platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're on Deezer. Well, we used to be on Deezer, Buzzsprout. We're on Buzzsprout, and Buzzsprout does not affiliate with Deezer right now. They're only in Europe. So we don't have Deezer anymore, but we do have Castbox, Castro. We have Index. What is it? Podcast Index and Podcast Addict. We have Listen Notes. I mean, we're everywhere. So just look up on your favorite platform that you use and look up Terror to Triumph and we'll be there. Also, we are now on Riverside. Okay, guys, we made the switch. We're on Riverside now. So go look us up. You go to riverside.com, look up Terror to Triumph. You'll find us there. Okay. So now all of the announcements are finally out the way. I can finally get started with the episode. Okay. So now in our series, the React series, we talked about fawning. That's appeasing people to survive. And then The last time we talked about flight. We talked about running to survive or escaping to survive. Tonight, we're going to talk about fight. We're talking about fight. Fight is the response where you stand your ground, where you rage, where you defend yourself with aggression. Okay? If you grew up in an abusive home, fight might have been your armor. It might still be. Today, we're breaking down what fight looks like, why it happens, and how to channel that power into something that actually protects you. Excuse me. I'm burping. The fight response is the body's instinct to defend against danger. According to Rain, RAINN, the fight response may involve yelling, pushing, hitting, or trying to escape through confrontation. It's not a choice. It's an automatic survival mechanism. When when you were a child in an abusive home, fight might mean taking back or talking back rather to an abuser, physically resisting or standing up for yourself or for a sibling for that matter. But here's the thing, right? If you're a kid and you fight back against an adult, you lose. You can't win against an adult as a kid. So the abuse escalates. So the fight becomes risky. But some kids do it anyway because the alternative is complete powerlessness. So you get where I'm going with this, right? So as an
Yes.
adult, fight shows up as anger, aggression, defensiveness, and confrontation. According to the National Center for PTSD, many people feel angry after trauma. Anger helps us cope with life stresses by giving us energy to keep going in the face of danger or trouble. Here's the neurobiology, okay? When your nervous system perceives a threat, your sympathetic nervous system activates. Adrenaline and cortisol floods your body. Your muscles tense, your heart rate increases, blood flows to your limbs, preparing you to fight. Your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, goes line. You're in pure survival mode at that point. So for a child in an abusive home, this response makes sense because fighting back, even if it didn't work, was better than complete surrender. It preserved a sense of agency. Well, it kind of fits. So, but now as an adult, that same fight response might be destroying your relationships, your career, and your peace.
What fight
What
looks like
flight,
now.
what fight looks like now.
Flight doesn't always look like physical
Flight doesn't
violence.
always look like physical violence.
In fact, for many
In
survivors, it's
fact, for
more
many
stable.
survivors, it's more stable.
But just as destructive, let
But
me
just
walk you
as
through it.
destructive, let me walk you through it.
Explosive anger, you have sudden
Explosive
intense.
anger, you have sudden intense
Something small triggers you and you explode. You yell. You say things you regret. You break
things you
things. The
regret, you
intensity
break things.
is
The intensity is
disproportionate to
disproportionate
the trigger
to the
because you're not
trigger
actually angry
because you're
about
not
the present
actually angry
moment.
about the
You're
present
angry about the
moment. You're
past.
angry about the past.
Defensive aggressive, you're
Defensive
always ready
aggressive,
for
you're
a fight.
always ready for a fight.
You're
You're
interpret neural comments
neural
as a text.
comments as a
You
text.
argue about
You
everything. You
argue
can't
about
let anything
everything. You
go.
can't let anything go.
You need to be right
You
even
need
when
to be
being
right
right
even
costs
when
you
being
the
right costs
relationship.
you the relationship.
Verbal aggression.
Verbal
You use
aggression.
words as
You use
weapons.
words as
You're
weapons.
sarcastic,
You're
cutting,
sarcastic, cutting,
critical.
critical.
You know exactly
You
what
know
to say
exactly
to
what
hurt
to say
someone.
to hurt someone.
You may gaslight,
You may
blame, or
gaslight,
shame
blame,
others
or
to
shame others
maintain
to maintain
control.
control.
Physical aggression. You
Physical
punch
aggression.
walls,
You punch
draw
walls,
things,
draw things,
physically lash out. You might
physically
not
lash
hit
out. You
people,
might not hit people,
but you are always on the
but
edge
you are
of it.
always on the edge of it.
Your body is ready to
Your
fight at
body
any
is ready to
moment.
fight at any moment.
Controlling behavior.
Controlling behavior.
Fight shows up as
Fight
control. You
shows
need to
up as
control your
control. You need to
environment.
control your environment.
Your partner, your kids,
Your
your
partner, your
circumstances.
kids, your circumstances.
Because you're not in control, you're
Because you're
vulnerable,
not in
and vulnerable
control, you're
feels like
vulnerable,
death.
and vulnerable feels like death.
Hypervigilant, you're always scanning for threats.
Hypervigilant, you always scanning for threats.
You're reading people's faces, tones
You're
of
reading
voice, body
people's faces,
language.
tones of voice, body language.
You're looking for signs of
You're looking
betrayal
for
or
signs
attack.
of
Your nervous
betrayal or
system is
attack.
in
Your nervous
constant
system is in
combat
constant
mode.
combat mode.
According to the National Child
According to the National Child
Traumatic Stress Network,
Traumatic Stress Network,
children who survive through
children who
fight
survive through
responses
fight
may not have
responses may
unpredictable
not
or
have
explosive
unpredictable
emotional
or
responses.
explosive
As
emotional
adults,
responses.
they may
As adults,
they may
they
react
may
to
re- they
reminders
may
of
react to
trauma
reminders of
with
trauma
trembling anger,
with
sadness,
trembling
or
anger,
avoidance.
sadness, or avoidance.
The painful part,
The
fight often
painful
pushes
part,
away the people
fight
you
often
love.
pushes away the people you love.
Partners leave, friends distance
Partners
themselves,
leave,
kids become
friends
afraid
distance
of you,
themselves, kids
and the
become afraid of
reinforcing
you,
is the
and the
original
reinforcement is
trauma
the
meshes.
original
You're too
trauma
much, you're
meshes.
danger,
You're too
you're
much, you're
unlovable.
danger, you're unlovable.
Here's what chronic fight costs you: your health, your relationships, and your peace. Neurologically, when you're in constant state of fight, your body is flooded with stress hormones. According to research from PTSD UK, increased anger in trauma survivors occurs as a consequence of how trauma changes the brain to recognize potential threats. In other words, your brain is wired to see danger everywhere. It's hypervigilant and it's exhausted. Over time, this chronic activation leads to high blood pressure, heart disease, a weakened immune system, and chronic pain. Your body is literally wearing itself down from being ready to fight. That's deep. I wonder if I'm going through something. There's also the relational cost, right? Because fight creates distance, and people don't feel safe around you because you always trying to start something up. Think about it that way. Even if they love you, they're walking on eggshells around you because they don't want to trigger you. And that isolation deepens the trauma. So kind of clicks, right? So if you think about somebody who, like us, is a survivor and we have that fight response, we're argumentative, we're combative, we're always disagreeing, we're always mean with our words, really sharp tongue, and we're defensive. It's a put off, right? But at the same time, in our minds, we want love, but that's self sabotage because we're doing things to count what we want. So there's professional cost too. Anger outbursts at work can cost you your jobs. I mean, that's kind of like understandable. Defensiveness can prevent you from receiving feedback or growing because you'll always look at somebody who's trying to give you constructive criticism as an attack. So your fight response, which was meant to protect you, is actually limiting your life or livelihood. And then there's the spiritual cost because fight keeps you in the state of war with others, with yourself, and with life in general. You can't rest. You cannot trust. And you cannot surrender. You're always braced for battle. But here's the truth. That fight response that kept you alive, it did. If you think about it, it really did keep you alive. It gave you agency when you had none. It protected you when no one else would. That's not weakness. That's survival. The work now is learning to direct that power towards things that actually serve you.
Channeling fight
Channeling
into power.
fight into power.
So how do you
How
heal from
how
chronic
do
fight?
you heal from chronic fight?
How do you channel that
How do you channel
intensity
that
into something that
intensity into
actually
something
protects you
that
instead of
actually protects
destroying
you
you?
instead of destroying you?
First, recognize the fight
Recognize the
impulse.
fight impulse.
When you feel anger
When you
rise and
feel
pause,
anger rise
don't
and
act,
pause,
just notice.
don't act, just
Ask
notice.
yourself,
Ask
what am
yourself,
I actually
what
angry
am I
about?
actually
Is
angry
this
about?
about
Is
now
this
or
about
this is
now
about
or
then?
this is about then?
Second, move your
Second,
body. Your
move
nervous
your
system
body.
needs to
Your nervous system
discharge
needs to
that fights
discharge
energy.
that fights
Exercise
energy.
intensely.
Exercise
Hit a punching
intensely.
bag.
Hit a punching
Run.
bag. Run.
Dance. Scream into a
Dance.
pedal.
Scream into a
Give your body
pedal.
a safe
Give
way
your body
to
a safe
express the
way
rage that's
to
been
express the
stored there.
rage that's been stored there.
Third, use your voice differently.
Use your
Instead of
voice
yelling at
differently.
people,
Instead of yelling
use your
at
voice to
people,
set
use your voice
boundaries.
to set
Instead of
boundaries.
attacking,
Instead of
advocate for
attacking,
yourself.
advocate for yourself.
According to the
According to the
assertiveness training,
assertiveness
there's a
training,
difference
there is a
between
difference
aggression
between
and
aggression
assertion.
and assertion.
Assertion is
Assertion is
powerful without being
powerful without
destructive.
being destructive.
Fourth, practice the pause. When you
Practice the
feel
pause. When
trigger,
you feel trigger,
pause before you
pause
respond.
before you
Take 3
respond.
deep
Take
breaths.
3
Count
deep
to
breaths.
10.
Count
This
to
give
10.
you
This give you
your
your
prefrontal cortex
prefrontal
time to come
cortex
back
time to come
online.
back
You'll
online.
literally
You'll
rewind your
literally
nervous system
rewind
to
your nervous
have
system to
choice.
have choice.
5, seek
5.
anger management
Seek
and
anger
therapy.
management and therapy.
DERP is like
Trauma
trauma-focused CPT
focused
and anger
CPT and
management
anger management
address how
specifically
fight is stored in
address
your
how
body
fight
and
is stored
mind.
in
A
your
good
body and
therapist can
mind.
help
A
you
good
process
therapist
the
can help
original
you process
threat
the
and
original
learn new
threat
ways to
and
respond.
learn new ways to respond.
6, channel your intensity
6.
into purpose.
Channel your
That fight
intensity into
energy
purpose. That
is
fight
powerful.
energy
It can
is
fuel
powerful.
active
It can fuel active
advocacy, boundary settings, and
advocacy,
protection
boundary
of
settings,
others.
and
Channel
protection
it
of
into
others.
something
Channel it
meaningful.
into something meaningful.
7, practice
7.
self-compassion. You
Practice
fought because you
self-compassion. You
had to
fought
survive.
because you had
That
to
was
survive.
brilliant. Now you
That
learn
was
to fight for
brilliant. Now you're learning to fight
yourself
for
in healthier ways.
yourself in healthier
Drew
ways.
boundaries, drew
Drew
voice, drew
boundaries, drew
presence.
voice, drew presence.
Mm. Your anger is valid. Your rage is real. And it's time to use that power to protect yourself, not to destroy you. So
Next week on the Reactive series, we're driving into the freeze
Reactive
response.
series,
Shut
we're driving
down,
into the freeze
disassociated,
response.
and
Shut
what it means to
down,
be stuck.
disassociated, and what it
Remember,
means
you're
to be
not
stuck.
broken.
Remember, you're not broken.
And now you're
You'll
learning to
survive.
fight for
And
yourself
now
in
you're learning
ways
to
that
fight
actually
for
work.
yourself in ways that actually work.
that's true. That's true. So, Storm, does any of this resonate with you that we talked about tonight? I know it did with me.
Yes. Yes.
In relationships,
In relationships, like
just
just
doing stupid
doing
stuff that
doing stupid stuff that
that's meaningless because you
that's
attack your
meaningless
partner
because you attack your partner for no
reason.
reason.
Like, I think about me as a kid when I wanted to react. I couldn't react to the parents, even though I did once, and that went very poorly. But I would often take my aggression out in my room because I had to get it off me. It was like an overwhelming urge to do something. And people say Al don't keep his toys. Al, he don't try to keep nothing. He always destructive with his toys. But it was. I looked at it as you bought me these things, but you don't show me affection. So it was just to appease me when you bought these things. Then I threw them, and I thought to myself as I'm throwing or destroying my stuff, I'm thinking, you really care about money. I know this is going to piss you off. And I know it's going to piss you off because you bought something and I'm up here destroying what you bought me. And I know you care about that, more so than you care about me. So that was my way of fighting back. I mean, it's stupid, but I was a kid, you know, and that's what I was thinking. It was weird. It was weird. But I did all the stuff that they talked about. I threw the stuff. I destroyed stuff, and I started punching the walls or whatever. But I couldn't do that to them. Obviously, they whooped me up with the quickness. I mean, I couldn't fight back to them. You know, but I did it. I had a very sharp anger that was dwelling within me, and think about that in adulthood. I had a sharp tongue, and I was at a point where I was like not caring, you know, speaking what I felt. If I felt somebody was saying something out the way to me, or if they were trying to get down on me, or whatever the case may be, that I was standing up for myself. I'd speak up for myself. But the crazy part is, because of the trauma, that's being a trauma response was not really part of who I was. That was just the reaction to what I perceived as a threat, a veiled threat, or somebody being aggressive towards me, or somebody trying to be controlling to me, so I lash out or I say something sharp. And I know I had people look at me some kind of ways sometimes, like, really? You going there? But there were times that people did try me, and I got right back with them. And I hit them harder than they hit me. And that didn't always go over. So, so I say that to say that in my trauma response, my reactions were far overreaching, because, like we talked about in previous episodes, that the reaction does not match the conversation. It was like way more than the conversation. So when talking to somebody and you just having a regular conversation, man, F that, man. No, man, bump that. Get a little out there, and everybody looking like, whoa. I'm gonna bring up an example. Now, I can't remember exactly why, but my family went to go visit my brother, and we were all chilling at his house one evening, and we had drinks or whatever. And then my nephew said something out the way to me, and it felt like an attack. I ain't gonna lie. And that's my nephew now. And I started to get riled up. And I was going there. And my brother had to step in like, hey, now. That's had to step in and say something, because we was gonna go there. I mean, he was trying to crack a joke on me in front of everybody and all that stuff. And I wasn't feeling it. I just wanted to chill. He wanted to, make me the butt of the subject. I mean, it was all light and humor and everything, but the trauma in me, you know what I'm saying? That part, that's what was causing me to go there. And that's my nephew. I love my nephew. But, looking back, even with, like I tell y'all, sometimes, even though I do the research and I set these series up or these episodes up to give y'all information, sometimes I glance over information, don't understand it, or I don't perceive it, or I don't register it in my mind until we actually on. That's like right now, because thinking about that instance and how I started getting aggressive over something that really wasn't aggressive. He wasn't attacking me. He wasn't really attacking. I wasn't in any real threat, but that was the trauma speaking. That was the trauma speaking. And Neff, I apologize for that, but I didn't even know what was going on with me then. I had an inkling, but I was in denial. I didn't want to address it, and I just wanted it to be shoved up underneath the ground somewhere. But now, through talking and voicing your opinion and listening and learning about these things, they help. I'm sure somebody out there has been feeling what we going through, what we feeling. Because these emotions are not just something that's, like clothes. You don't just put them on and take them off. And then that's that. You know what I'm saying? These things are stuck with us. They're a part of us. And with trauma, unaddressed trauma, that rides with you. It's like your ride or die. It's a shotgun. It's sitting in the seat right next to you. And it's ready to roll. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you are. But the problem is the situation may not call for it. And you being over 200,000% over. And that doesn't help you or the situation that you're in. As a matter of fact, it's making it worse. So, Storm, what do you think about all this information?
It's a lot. It's a lot. And
Mm.
being, that I have been in different situations where I have attacked people, been in different situations where I have attacked people, then, all I can say today is, I apologize for my reactions if I offended anybody. But I didn't know that it was trauma response at the time. I just know that I was acting off. It was something that hit me to my heart, and I responded, like edge with an edge,
Mm.
with a hit, with a hate, and hate is it's like a large word. It's a word that you don't want to use.
It's a word that you don't want to use.
I can think of some words I don't. I can think of a lot of words I don't want to use. Yeah, but yeah, hate is up there. You don't want to be that person. To say, "Oh, then we don't want to go around that person because they always, gonna go off. They got an attitude or whatever the case may be. They're like, oh, they got a. You don't want to go around them. So you don't want a person. So let me tell you another story. I'm about to tell something quite revealing about myself. Like I said, this is honest, open discussion on this platform and full disclosure. So, my arrest, right? Went to prison and served a year in prison. And the reason I went to prison was predicated on this very subject. How it all began was a buildup over a couple of decades, I guess you could say. I had some friends from high school, and it was like three guys, four guys of us. We were really tight back then. And as we graduated and went into adulthood, one of our friends got married fresh out of high school. And the rest of us were like, bro, what are you doing? Why are you getting married? You just met this girl and all of a sudden you head over heels. And, we questioned it because we was like, dang, we really young and we not established, but you jumping right off the deep end already. How is that? Why is that? Well, needless to say, because of how we felt, I think he went back and told his wife. So naturally, at this point, his wife does not like us anymore. And over the years, it got to the point where she was becoming very vocal about how she felt about us. And it got to the point where we would call, to talk to him. She would answer the phone and instantly have attitude and be going off on us. So I backed away. I said, I don't want to lose my friend and I'm trying to respect his marriage. I don't want to call and say something out the way because I know me. back then, like I said, the trauma response, I knew that if that came up, I might say something. And I valued my friendship so much that I said, I'm not calling. Maybe if I'm on a three-way with somebody else, they answer the phone when she picks up instead of me. I just be silent in the background and then I'll talk to my boy then after he pick up the phone. But that went on for some years. Then I got married, then I got divorced. And through that marriage, I learned about child rearing. And because my ex-wife at that point had two children, which I really cared and loved for. And I still do, to be honest with you. My friend saw that in me, and he was wondering, how did I get along with the kids? They're not my kids, but how did I get along with them? And he was starting to have problems with his oldest. And he called me one day, I can't do anything. I don't understand. She all over the place, and I try to rear her, and that's all I know how to do. I feel like I'm losing her. And my heart went out to him. I don't want to see my boy hurting like that. So I sat down and I tried to talk to him about, you can do boys the way we was raised, but well, not exactly the way we was raised, but boys is different from girls. And I went down through the explanation. You got to be soft with a girl. You got to talk to her. You got to let her trust you. You can't just go upside her head all the time, because then she's going to bottle up and she's going to turn away from you. She's not going to talk to you no more. Right. So I talked to him about this over a couple days, and I guess he tried it out and it didn't work. And he came back to me and told me, and I'm like, I don't know what to do at this point, because I mean, it's really not my position to do anything, really. But this my boy, right? This I came up with him. We high school. We adults now. We in our early or late 20s, early 30s at this point. So I'm like, okay, look, I could be the middleman. You know what I'm saying? We already cool because oh, that's a part I left out about her christening when she was younger. But I'm not gonna go in there because I get long winded. Anyway, long story short, I try to play the middleman, and because I was her favorite, well, she said I was her favorite godfather. So I said, let me get her email address and we'll correspond that way. Something come up, I'll let you know what's happening, and then I can show you the emails and what she's saying and all that kind of stuff. Okay, cool. He came over. We exchanged everything right in front of each other and all that stuff. Everything cool. So the next day she hit me up talking about school and all this kind of stuff. Then she told me she had a boyfriend and he didn't go to school. He was older and all this other kind. I'm like, whoa. So I'm like, I don't know how to tell my boy because he gonna blow the hell up. I'm surprised she even brought that to me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, whoa,
Wow.
damn. I said, but I gotta tell him because now I don't want this other guy, this predator, talking to my boy girl. You know what I'm saying? So before I could formulate this in my head, a question came across the screen. If you had me, what would you do with me? I instantly knew that was not her. I instantly knew that was not her at that point. I was taken aback. I was like, I just looked at that email for like 2 days. There was no other response. Now, mind you, up until this point, it was like 2 weeks up until that question came up. Her mind was all over the place. She was talking about boys, music, this, that, and the other. I mean, it's typical, for a minor, a 13-year-old. I expect her to be everywhere because she's trying to explore, she's trying to learn, she's trying to figure out things. She's supposed to be everywhere in her head. But this question became the sole focus over the next couple days. There was no other talk about anything else. I said, this is not this girl no more. I'm thinking it's the mother trying to say something about me. Now, a little caveat right here. I used to run a adult pornography website back then. I told you I was out there, and a full disclosure. So this is the truth. So I used to run this site. I only ran it for a short period of time, and I had to shut it down because there was some technical difficulties with the web post and all that stuff. But I still had the material that I created for this site. So when that question came up and my mind went to think, this is the mother trying to say some BS about me, I blew up. I said, oh, you want to see? You think this is what I do? I go after kids? Let me show you what I do. And then I started saying all this. And I sent the pictures. And that's why I went to prison, because I did send pornographic pictures to a minor's email address, even though I'm not thinking that was a minor on the line at the time. But I did do that. And that was a trauma response. Do y'all see how dangerous that can be? I did not know that at the time that was a trauma response. And this is what I'm talking about. Real healing comes from talking about it. If you don't talk about it, you can't heal. And if you stay bottled up, you can't heal. If somebody else talking about what's going on around you can help you break your silence, you can start the path to healing. That's what this show is about. That's why I say full disclosure. That's why I tell y'all that it's important to speak up, even about the things that hurt. You got to speak up, because if you don't, you'll never grow. You'll stay wherever you are at, where that trauma hit you. You're going to be there forever if you do not face it. I don't want y'all to be like that. I was stuck like that 54 years. Okay, well, minus the 5. So let's say 49. 49 years stuck like that. That's longer than some of y'all have been alive. Can you imagine 49 years of all that turmoil in your mind, wondering why you act certain ways, wondering why you do certain things, but you can't put your finger on it because you ain't dealing with that in the past. You don't think that even got anything to do with what you're doing right now, but it does. You just don't know it because you haven't faced it. And I think about this. This is another thing. I'm going off on a tangent right now, but please forgive me, Storm. Forgive me, y'all. I'm about to go off on a tangent right here. But concerning survivors, those of us who have not addressed the issues that we have, we go forward and we commit and do things that we wouldn't normally do if we had never received that trauma. It changes us. When you rewrite your nervous system to address the trauma situation, that changes our outlook on life. It changes our outlook on people. It changes our thinking pattern. It allows us to accept things normal people who haven't, well, I shouldn't say normal people. We're all normal people, but we've just been abused. We're not broken. We just had to learn to rethink. And that process, to get to that point, it takes a lot of introspection. If you say to yourself, I need help. It took me 2 failed marriages for me to really grasp that I need to do something about this. I'm tired of being like this. I'm tired of being in failed relationships. I'm tired of going through these cycles that I was going through. And I'm starting to recognize them now. But it took me so long. It don't have to take you that long. Why? Because we here giving you the information. There was nobody to give us, me and Storm, that information. You do not have to suffer like we did. There's no point in you suffering like we did. We are here telling you how we happen to get through it. Some early, some late. Thank God Storm was able to receive some healing earlier than I did, but we all have eventually come to the path of our healing. We had to find somebody to help us understand ourselves. And learning about this fight, flight, on, and tomorrow freeze, we are learning those. We're learning about how we have been and what it's going to take for us to come out of that. That's this is the nexus of healing, really. If you're suffering right now and you don't know where to turn, if you're in a crisis mode, or you feel like things are dire, situation is real grim, you can call 988. That's the crisis and suicide lifeline. Somebody be on that phone 24/7 to talk to you. If you feel like you're angry and you can't channel your rage and you feel like you're gonna blow up on somebody, call that number. And people can talk to you. They know who to direct you to get you the help you need. Somebody who can help you process it. We all needed that in some ways or other. It might not be aggression for you. It might be aggression for somebody else. It might be fawning. It might be freezing. It might be flight. But some of us, it might be a couple of those. But the thing is, please, please, please get the help you need. Get the help you need. Receive the help you need. There are always somebody around to lend a helping hand. And I like to say the phrase that my coined phrase is, help is closer than you think. You call that 988 number, help is going to be right there. And that ain't a hard number to remember, is it, Storm?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Real simple. 988. Bam. Pick up the phone. 988. 3 digits. No, 2. Actually, 2 numbers. 3 digits. 988. That's nationwide. United States, nationwide. Whew, I had to get deep on that one for a minute. I'm sorry, but that anger issue thing, that's a real thing for real. Like with me and my trauma, I was a heavy, heavy fawner type person. I always tried to blend in, be the chameleon, to fit in whatever group I was in, because I just wanted to be accepted. I was the abandonment kid. I was the need to be accepted kid. I was the wanting to be loved. I wanted to fit in kid, but I always felt I never felt fit in anywhere. So I always fawned to try to make sure that I could be a part of something that was bigger than me, or some friendship, but I didn't always meet the wrong people, but I did meet the people in the worst ways. I'll put it that way. I had developed an online personality that wasn't even mine. It wasn't even mine. It wasn't me. I made up this personality I thought people might like. The sad part was people did like it. That's the crazy part. But it wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? So I was starting to become somebody else that I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? That was like psychotically, that was kind of messing with me for real. When I got online and I started typing and talking, or I was on video chats and whatever, I'm this person. When I get off, I'm not that person anymore. I'm somebody else. I'm me. But the me that I am is the trauma me. The person I created was the trauma me too, but all out. I even had a name, y'all. I created this personality. I called him Freaky Al. Before that, I think what was my name? Hydrogen Blast or something like that. I think that was my name before that. Black Haiku is another one. I'm telling you, the trauma had me tripping, right?
Gamer.
So I kept
Gamer.
gamer. That's my gamer tag. Yeah, Black Haiku. To this day, Xbox. Look it up. I ain't lying to y'all. But this realism in healing. And if somebody has experienced the things that I'm talking about, then I know you can resonate with this episode. You can really feel what we are exploring tonight. And I hope this message does reach you. And if you feel like you need somebody, you can dial that 988 number to get the help you need. The 988 number is not just a number just so somebody can pacify you. They got resources that you can connect with. They'll connect you with. If you need to talk to a therapist, they can connect you to a therapist. If you already had a psychologist, excuse me, and you lost contact with them, they can connect you to another one. How about that? Or if you feel like you in such a crisis, like you're going to do something or harm yourself, they can send somebody to the house so you can be okay and make sure you are right. So it's not just, a number. Hey, we're doing this. No, it's actually help. It's real help. And it leads to real resources.
And they
You want
really
to say
come
something,
out.
Steph?
They really come out. And they really help
come
you.
out and they really help you.
You can go ahead. I was drinking some water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but what I was saying is
Yeah, but
that
what I was
don't
saying
think
is
that when you
that
call that
don't think
number
that when you
that
call that number
they won't
that they
respond, they won't
won't
help.
respond,
They
they
will
won't
send
help.
somebody out
They will send
to
somebody
help
out
you,
to
to
help
help you if
you,
that's what is needed.
to help you if
So if
that's
you
what is
think nobody
needed.
won't come out
So
in
if you think
person,
nobody won't come out in person,
they will.
they will.
See, I ain't making that up. Think about it. You might see it on TV. Like, what is it? The 911 thing where they do the call center and people call in and say, well, I haven't seen my neighbor or something like that. And then they send the police out there to do a wellness check. That's kind of the same thing. Only it's not 911, it's 988. And they'll still send somebody to you if you need somebody to that capacity. It's whatever you need. Just don't ask for $1 million. I'm pretty sure the person on the other end of that line ain't got that like that. But
Well, this is what's going to
like I
save
said,
my
we
Well,
trying to
life.
this is
keep it
what's
light.
going to save my life.
Right. Well, dang, I need $1 million to save my life. Well, that sounds like a bigger problem.
That's
You
not
need $1
working.
million. You
That's
running
not
from somebody.
working.
You running from somebody or something. But I digress. I just wanted to say that I'm here. I'm here. We are here. Me and Storm, we're here for you guys to share our stories. Storm, real quick, we only got like 3.5 minutes left. You got something quick you want to say?
No, I'm good.
No, I'm good.
I ain't trying to put you on the spot or nothing. I'm just trying to see if you wanted to say something. That's all. That's all. You co-hosted with me. You know what I'm saying? You got a right to talk to if you want to say something, interject or whatnot.
No, I think you
No,
did
I
a
think
good
you
job.
did a
Because,
good
last
job.
week,
Because,
you
last
know,
week,
I kind of took over
I
and
kind of
stuff,
took over
according
and
to
stuff,
technical
according to
difficulties.
technical difficulties.
But, you know, I
But,
don't really have a lot to say
I
tonight.
don't really have a lot to say tonight.
It's okay. It's okay. It's like for y'all understanding, this is a judgment-free zone. This is a safe zone. You do not have to worry about being pressured to do anything. I don't ask y'all to make a comment. You're like, you got to make a comment. I don't tell y'all that you have to respond. I don't say that. I suggest, if you want, you can leave a comment, you can make a suggestion or whatnot. But I'm not saying you have to. You can sit back, you can listen, you can get the information, you can write it down, whatever you need. You know what I'm saying? I just want y'all to be comfortable to keep coming back, to keep getting this information. That's all. That's all. I don't want to pressure anybody. The only thing that I might pressure about is that we need help paying some of these bills. And that's why I send y'all over to Pels Emporium so y'all can go and buy some clothes and stuff. So that can come and help pay some of these bills for this. But outside of that, ain't no pressure. I'm not pressuring y'all for that. You know, But I thank God for this platform. I thank God for y'all. I thank God that He's given me this mission to reach out to people to try to get them the help that they need. I'm trying to be the bridge from the person that's hurt to the healer that can give them the healer that they need, the understanding of how to cope. Me and Storm, we're not therapists, we're not psychologists, we're not psychiatric evaluators, we're not counselors, we're not any of that. We're just two survivors who saw the need for other survivors to get the help they need. So this platform is that platform. Okay. No, I'm going to close it out because we only got 30 seconds left. So I want to tell y'all that I love y'all. And I thank y'all for showing up. So self-care isn't selfish. It's the ongoing practice of honoring yourself. And that's what sustains trust. That ends tonight's episode. I want y'all to stay tuned tomorrow as we wrap up the React series with the fourth and final episode, Freeze, Living with the Freeze Trauma Response. We love you. Storm and I thank you for being here and for being an integral part of the 3T survivor community. That's Terror to Triumph, if y'all didn't know what the 3T meant. So anyway, we'll see you tomorrow on 3T. Y'all stay safe and remember, help is always closer than you think. Have a good night.
Good night. Good night.